This is not an aid convoy crossing from Turkey to Syria. It's a procession of grief. Syrian families taking the bodies of relatives who had been living in Turkey back home for burial. Some have only the back seat of their family cars to transport the remains. Abu Ahmed has driven more than 20 bodies across the border so far. He can't understand why much needed aid is so slow to arrive in northern Syria.
We noticed that there are more dead bodies than aids and rescue teams that arrive into northern Syria. The north needs a lot. It needs aid for people whose homes were destroyed and who are now living in the streets. Regarding rescue teams, people are still under the rubble.
Finally, an aid convoy arrives more than a week after the earthquake. Only a very few have gotten through.
The UN relief chief stood here on the Turkish side of the border crossing with Syria and said, "We have so far failed the people in northwest Syria." Martin Griffith was referring to the inability of getting aid to Syrians. Now finally we're spotting some aid convoys crossing into Syria on the basis of better late than never.
Conflict across the border in Syria is behind the delay. The region is controlled by different militant groups and political factions. Disputes and distrust have obscured aid delivery. Here in the village of Janderis, desperation has set in.
There is shortage of everything. We do not have any wood. We do not have any heater. The cold is severe in the evening. We covered ourselves with blankets, but all our children got sick.
Jamal has worked himself to exhaustion. He's been clearing rubble from his home with his bare hands, trying to pull the bodies of his relatives out from under the ruins.
On the first day of the earthquake, people under the rubble were still alive, and they called, "Help us, get us out." But we had no tools. On the second day, the same thing. Now we need only tools to get the dead bodies lying under the rubble. Allah help us. We believe in God, but we want to take the bodies of our kids and others out of the rubble and bury them properly in graveyards.
Some Syrians feel the world has once again failed them. After years of war and multiple displacements, little help has come their way.